Hola, buenos dias. Welcome back to Uppa's Kitchen on the road here in Querétaro. Happy Valentine's Day. Today's Saturday, February 14th. El Día de Amor y Amistad, Day of Love and Friendship. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Remember, Valentine was a rebel, if you know the story. All right, so I'm here in my Airbnb. I'm going for another acupuncture treatment today for my arm. But I wanted to show you my Airbnb because I made my bed and it's kind of clean. And I know some people might be curious about what's it like to live in Querétaro. So it's a really nice place. I wasn't sure when I first got here because it's a little, I'll show you, it's a little bit weird, some things about it, but it's actually very comfortable, spacious, and it's really cheap. Super cheap. I forget how much I paid, but like way less than $100 a night. All right, so I'm here in my bedroom. Really comfortable bed, super comfortable mattress. I really like the pillows too. We got some pretty artwork. So there's a window here in the bedroom. It faces a wall, but it's okay. So it's private, but there's some air. Nice storage. Whatever that thing is called, wardrobe, and a dresser, and then a really nice bathroom. Everything is new. So really nice shower. It has soap and shampoo in the shower. The place I stayed at in Puerto Vallarta didn't provide any soap, which was kind of weird. This is the living room, which is very comfortable, and the kitchen. Great kitchen. I haven't cooked, but you could cook. There's plenty here. Has pots and pans and dishes and everything. Microwave, coffee maker, blender, toaster, water kettle. So it's very well stocked. Has a water filter for water, but I did have some water delivered. So that's what I've been drinking. And then there's a laundry area with a washing machine, no dryer. So we air dry our clothes here, like in most of the world. So that's it. So that's my Airbnb. The only thing, all right, so the weird thing. So, all right, there's some light that comes through those windows, but that opens into the hallway. There's a window there, going out to the laundry area, and the window in the bedroom, but otherwise it's kind of dark. So that's it with the lights out. It's kind of dark in here. It's okay. And then also, I don't know what the deal is with this ceiling. It's almost like it's in a shipping container. And I can hear the neighbors during the day. There's some like spots up there where it seems like, all right, I don't know what happened. My video froze. So anyway, as I was saying, there's some spots where it seems like the air comes through. So it's a little bit drafty. It was cold here the first night, but the nighttime temperatures have not been as cold now as when I first arrived. So it's okay. The lighting, like in the living room, I'm not a fan of this kind of fluorescent light. So I wish they had a lamp or something in here, but it's okay. So that's my Airbnb here in Querétaro. I'm going to go for my acupuncture treatment, and then possibly I'm going to check out the little Comida Corrida, this little neighborhood spot. So I might eat lunch there today. There's the food vendors down in Jardins Enea. I went to last night. I had a gordita. It was a little bit uncomfortable. I didn't know really what anything was. So I was thinking I would go down there for lunch today, but it's going to be hot and I don't know. So we'll see. I'm going to check out the Comida Corrida and try to make this a short video. And then if I go out again later in the afternoon, maybe I'll just make a short video about like my afternoon snack or something, or maybe I'll stay in for a little bit, rest up, and go out in the evening for dinner. So we'll see. Nice day. It's a cute little market here next to my Airbnb. There's a school right across the street. So I guess the kids go there for their candy and snacks. Lunch, I think they sell sandwiches. It's just very cute. It's a really cute neighborhood. I'm about 3 blocks maybe from the Alameda. And then the Alameda is on the edge of the historic center. So it's very convenient. It's a little bit of a walk, but... And then the neighborhood is really quiet. Got a acupuncturist right around the corner. And what else did I find here? Acupuncture. Well, there's an Indian restaurant here. And then this little lunch place that I'm going to go look at. I don't know if I'm going to actually eat there. It's a little cool right now. It's almost 11 o'clock. My appointment's at 11. Was the weather app? What was that? The weather app said it was smoky again this morning. So I don't know what it is, this nighttime smoke, morning smoke. All right, so let me show you where I'm going. Literally just a block away. So there's my street back there. Here's the acupuncture place. And abierto. They're open. They're open, but the treatment door is closed, so he's probably working on somebody. There's a little waiting room there. Oh, no chair. All right, so we're gonna wait out here. I had a little discussion with ChatGPT this morning, some questions that I had. So my first question, I've been wondering why there are so many coffee shops. Is coffee grown in Querétaro? So answer, no. There's a little bit, but not enough to make that the reason. The reason there are so many coffee shops has to do with has to do with partly the university. So there's a big university here, so university students and professors, they like having all these cafes, places to get caffeine, and also to work and study. There's a strong professional class here, a lot of aerospace and automobile and different factories and things. So it's a pretty middle class city. So people just like having coffee shops. So there's a really strong cafe culture, and it's really kind of elevated. It's not just like, here's a cup of coffee, you know, like the places that I've been, you can select different beans, different roasts, you know, it's like people really take their coffee seriously here. It's pretty amazing. I mean, there's like, I passed yesterday the place that I went to, there were 3 coffee shops in this like one block. So that's one thing we talked about. And then I wanted to know how many ex-convents there were. And it said there really is no actual count, but in the historic zone, maybe 4 to 6, and then others beyond, and others in the state of Querétaro. So then I was asking about convents. What was the role of convents? So I thought a convent was a place where you just kind of sent your daughter because you didn't want to take care of her. But actually they were kind of status places, and families paid a dowry to the convent to take their daughters. It was seen as a status symbol for the family. And yeah, the women were taken care of, they were educated, they had more opportunities in the convent actually than they had outside of the convent. was often better than marriage for some women. And then the convents were kind of closed, eradicated, repurposed during the Reform period. So then I got into questions about Mexican history, like just trying to understand the timeline. So the colonial period was from 1521 until like 1821. I think that's when full independence was achieved. There was an emperor for a short time. I think his name was Maximiliano. For like 3 years, he declared himself emperor. They got rid of him. There were successive different presidents and coups. So there's a lot of instability right after independence. And then Benito Juarez was a reformer. So he was from the Liberal Party, and he was the one that closed the convents. The women were released. They were allowed to leave. Some remained as nuns, and then others just kind of went into a normal life, and the convents were then repurposed. So here we see two of the convents that I visited yesterday were turned into museums, and I don't know what other things they were used for. Then the French came in. Maximiliano. Did I already say Maximiliano? Who was the emperor? Oh, you're getting a little confused here. But anyway, there was an emperor, and then Maximiliano Bonaparte. The French came in and tried to take over because Mexico was still sort of weak at that point. They didn't like that. So Maximiliano was executed here in Querétaro. And then Porfirio Diaz became president and was sort of a dictator until 1910, after the Mexican Revolution, and he was exiled. So pretty interesting, a really interesting history. Much more, what's the word? Much less stable than our history. I mean, yeah, we had a civil war. Well, I guess our history also had some instability, but the way that we're taught our history, I think, is, you know, one president to another. Like, I don't think we really understand the ups and downs of our history. Here, it just seems more kind of in your face. Mexico lost a lot of territory after independence. So Texas and some of our southern states were part of Mexico, California. So Mexico lost those during certain periods after independence. So interesting. And for some reason here in Querétaro, the history seems more prominent than it has felt in other places. The Constitution was signed here in Querétaro. Like I said, Maximiliano was executed here. So, and then, you know, you see these convents and big churches and everything, just kind of these remnants of the colonial period, which all changed after independence. So it's very interesting. So there you go, viewer. You got a little history today. All right, I'm gonna walk inside. Maybe he's in there and he's just waiting for me. All right, that was good. Funny thing here in Spanish, when you get a massage, you know, in English we say face down. In Spanish they say mouth down, boca abajo. So I was boca abajo and my nose started running. He didn't do the electricity for the full 25 minutes, which was nice. He just did it like for a short time. But I got a nice massage, my neck, my back, and then acupuncture, a little bit of electricity, some heat, and it feels really good. So $30 for, it's like a 50-minute session. Can't beat it. All right, let's go take a look at this lunch place. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to talk inside. It all depends on if I get a single table by myself. I don't know what the vibe is going to be like in there. I peeked in a couple times. They did have some individual tables, but then they also have just big tables, kind of communal tables set up. So we'll see, but I'll try to just show you a little bit. I'll show you the food. If I end up eating there, I still don't know if I'm going to eat there. But I'll show you the deal, and then I'll talk to you afterwards. If I end up eating there, I don't know if I'm going to eat there. All right, here it is. Comida Corrida. Lunes a sábado. So it looks like you get soup, and you get a plate. That looks like a milanesa, fried like cutlet with rice and salad. Looks good. Los alebrijes. All right, it's breakfast. I don't want breakfast. So lunch starts at 1. I'll go back. I'm just gonna go back to my Airbnb and relax a little bit. I am hungry though. What is this business of lunch at 1? So yesterday when I went to that place, Bellows Grill or whatever it's called, with the kind of unfriendly girl, it was breakfast. The breakfast menu was posted. So I said, it's desayuno, it's breakfast. She said, yeah. I said, I want lunch. So I know lunch is almuerzo. I said, what time does it start? So it was a really complicated answer. She said breakfast is from 9 to, I don't know what time she was saying. And then comida from 1 to whatever time. So comida, so I don't understand this. Comida to me is food, but that's what they call lunch. I'm gonna go out to this main street here. There's this other little place that looked interesting. I just want to see what they serve. But I think I'm gonna have to wait until 1 no matter what. Ooh, there's a taco lady. Maybe I got a taco to hold me over. Taco lady on the corner. Can you guess what I'm gonna say? She was nice. She was really nice. Oh my God. So I was just gonna get 2 tacos. And then she said, can I give you 5 for 40? I said, 40 pesos? And she said, yeah. So 5 tacos for 40 pesos. Let's see, it's like 17 to $1 right now. So $2.50 maybe. I liked her because she smiled when she talked, and she was just very cheerful. So they're tacos de canasta. Canasta is basket, and I never really understood it. I'd seen them advertised, but I didn't really understand. And then I noticed she had this big basket. I said, so they're tacos de canasta because they're in a basket? She said, yeah. We had a nice little conversation. I said, do people eat these in the morning? She said, yeah, usually. She's usually out there in the morning until she sells out, I guess. You grab some tacos on the way to work. So I don't know if I'm going to go back to that place. I might. Let's see how full I feel after these tacos. This is the place I wanted to look at, but they're closed. So much for that. Here's my street, Florencio Rosas. A weird thing is I don't have a key. It's all keyless entry, just a keypad. So every time I leave, I'm like, oh, wait, key. Oh, I don't have to worry about the key. It's very convenient. All right, let's go check out these tacos. All right, so here are the tacos. I told her to give me a mix. So that's bean. What else do we have here? It looks like bean. Potato. More bean. And looks like I got a lot of bean. All right, it's fine. I don't think I'm going to eat all of these. They look slightly different. I don't know, it could be meat. I don't know what we got here. And then salad and salsa. So I'm going to put some on a plate. All right, I don't know if this salad has any dressing on it. Put a little salsa on it. And let's see here. This is, yeah, it might be meat. These are like the tacos that I ordered the other day that I've been eating for breakfast. All right, buen provecho. Let's try it. All right, it's a snack. So I'm just gonna eat a couple of these and then I'll go back to that place for lunch. Cute, those are cute. Little place. Is it cafe? I would have said, is it coffee? So I speak English. And they clocked me as a gringo. I don't know how that's possible. You mean I don't blend in? That's great, you know? For workers, grab something affordable on the way to work. For her, she's out there making money. All right, I'm going to try one more. They're kind of falling apart. I think this one might be potato. It's completely falling apart. Ugh. I don't know what that was. All right, enough of that. This is my little snack to hold me over until 1 o'clock. Let me charge my phone. Just gonna go eat. Today I'm not gonna walk around in the heat, so I'm gonna just rest here this afternoon, and then make another video this evening. Maybe I'll go check out that church, Santa Rosa, again. I don't know if there's an evening mass. Anyway, stay tuned for lunch, and then I'll make another video this evening. Hello, viewer. So I'm sitting here killing time, waiting for lunch. Comida to begin. So I'm reviewing my notes from ChatGPT from earlier. So first we talked about coffee and why there were so many cafes here in Querétaro. So the short answer is there are lots of cafes in Querétaro because of urban coffee culture, tourism, lifestyle trends, and high consumer demand. Not because it grows a lot of coffee. The university helps create a strong baseline demand, because that was my question, is it because of the university? But the real driver is that Querétaro is a prosperous, fast-growing city with a young population and tourism. But I think it's Mexican tourism. I haven't seen a lot of white people. Tourism. And coffee shops are low-barrier businesses that fit the environment. So it's, it doesn't really, it's pretty easy to open a coffee shop. And then some of them have pastries. The one I went to yesterday, they also had lunches and things. And then I asked about convents. So let me get to the summary of the convents. All right, so first, during colonial times, Querétaro was a major center for religious orders, Franciscans, Dominicans, Carmelites, etc. So the Art Museum is an Augustinian convent, and then the Regional Museum of Querétaro was a Franciscan convent. I think I may have gone to a Dominican church. Anyway, that's why so many convents were founded here. And then another summary. Hang on. All right, I thought I had a quick answer about convents. So convents were homes for women who took religious vows, poverty, chastity, and obedience. Daily life revolved around prayer, silence, and contemplation, manual work. They did sewing, embroidery, sometimes food preparation. In Italy, they were making pastries, and music and liturgical arts. Many were cloistered, meaning the nuns rarely left. And then convents did function as places where girls, especially from Spanish or Criollo elite families, could be educated. So it wasn't something that was open to indigenous women. There were racial barriers and also class. Families often paid a dowry for a daughter to enter a religious life. That dowry helped fund the convent. In return, she gained security. She lived in a respected institution. She avoided the risk of marriage in a patriarchal system, and she maintained family honor. For some women, convent life was genuinely a calling. For others, it was the most stable and socially acceptable option available in a world with no university for women, no independent careers, limited inheritance rights, and strong marriage pressure. The convent could be one of the few structured alternatives. Convents weren't passive prayer bubbles. They were social and economic powerhouses. They owned land, they lent money, they managed properties, they commissioned art and architecture. They employed workers and servants. Some convents were among the wealthiest institutions in colonial Querétaro. They also provided shelter for widows, boarding for unmarried women, sometimes informal education in reading, music, and embroidery. Isn't that interesting? They also had a political role. They shaped education, morality, and local power structures. So it wasn't what I thought, for a place for people to send their daughters away, to kind of get rid of them. It was really a status symbol. I asked about pregnancy. What if a woman got pregnant? That answer was kind of complicated. So yeah, so coffee and convents. That's how you sum up Querétaro. All right. I'm gonna ask. I have a question about when I go to this Comida Corrida, do I tip? And I also want to ask about tacos de canasta. So if I find out anything interesting, I'll let you know. I'm back. So the other thing that I forgot I asked about was Mexican history. So let me just give you a breakdown here. So the colonial period, Mexico was New Spain, ruled by Spain from 1521 to 1821, so 300 years. The War of Independence was from 1810 to 1821. So yesterday I said independence was in 1821, but 1810, but that's when it started. So they finally gained independence in 1821. The first Mexican empire was 1821 to 23, and that was Agustin de Iturbide, not Maximiliano, that's what I said earlier. So he crowned himself emperor. It collapses quickly. Mexico becomes a republic. Early republic in chaos from 1920s to 1950s. Constant coups, a weak economy. Texas breaks away. 1836, the U.S.-Mexico War. 1846 to 1848, so Mexico lost half of its territory at that point. So that was California, Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, all of those Spanish-sounding states. One dominant figure was Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. He was president 11 times. Okay, and then the Reform era, 1855 to 1867. This is where things fundamentally shift, liberals versus conservatives. So the liberals wanted separation of church and state, confiscation of church lands, and modernization. The conservatives wanted a strong church and traditional order. The key liberal leader was Benito Juarez. He became president in 1858. And I think Benito Juarez also was against slavery, and he was the one that actually helped to push the emancipation of slaves in the United States. He was indigenous, Zapotec. He became president in 1858. He pushed reform laws, nationalizes church property. That's when a lot of these convents became no longer belonged to the church. They became nationalized. He closes convents and monasteries. This sparks the Reform War. This was a civil war between liberals and conservatives. The liberals won. 1861. French intervention, 1862 to 1867. Mexico at that point was financially weak. France invades. They install Maximiliano I of Mexico. He was Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother. He ruled from 1864 to 1867. He was captured in Querétaro and executed in 1867. Benito Juarez returns to power. Mexico is now firmly liberal and Republican. And then Porfirio Diaz becomes president 1876 to 1911. He ruled for about 30 years. He stabilized the country, expanded railroads, encouraged foreign investment, industrializes Mexico, but suppresses opposition, concentrates wealth, and represses workers and peasants. And then the Mexican Revolution, 1910 to 1920. So interesting. I mean, really, so much happened, and it's just a lot of like shifting of power and all of that, kind of defining what's important here. And now Mexico's doing great. I mean, really, this current president, she's so good. Female president. When are we going to have a female president? I swear to God, we're so backward. So yeah, it looks great. Judging by Querétaro, I mean, Puerto Vallarta was great. Mexico City, I was there last year, was doing really well. There's still pockets of poverty, but they understand there's poverty and they're trying to address it. It's not like in the United States where we're doing the exact opposite, canceling all social programs, and giving the people at the top more money. It's just like so stupid. And I don't understand how working people are supporting that. They're taking away your health care. They're making education more expensive. Food is more expensive. These stupid tariffs, all of this stuff that Trump is doing. And why are working people supporting that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they're racist and they don't want money going to black and brown people. Well, you know what? You're going to pay for that in a couple of years because it's going to be more crime. It's going to mean things are just falling apart. It's going to be more difficult for you to do anything. So, you know, you're going to get what you vote for. America, you got to wise up. If it wasn't for my little Amy, I would be leaving at this point and just go back when things settle down, because it's just crazy. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to have a rant today, but you never know. They just kind of bubble up. It's just so stupid what's happening in our country right now. Okay, so I'm going to charge my phone a little bit more. It's 12:40. Oh, it's late, 12:46. And I'm going to head over for lunch. Doggy scared me. All right, so it's time for lunch. So definitely this video is going to end after lunch. I promise you. But look at what you got today. You got a tour of my Airbnb. You got some Mexican history and culture. We got tacos de canasta. So I asked ChatGPT about tacos de canasta. ChatGPT is so funny. It answers your question, but then it asks follow-up questions. It's like, come on. But so it explained it. So tacos de canasta, it's just a tortilla folded, simple fillings put into a basket. And then it said they're covered with oil or salsa, and they kind of steam in the basket. These didn't have oil or salsa on them, but they sort of cook themselves in the basket. They're soft, they're simple, they're cheap. Construction workers, delivery drivers, people on their way to work or school, whatever. So, I don't know, it just asked me some funny questions. It said something like, and that right there, you just crossed over from being a tourist to experiencing real Mexican life. Ooh, I'm not paying attention here. This neighborhood is very quiet, and the cars are so quiet. I didn't realize there was a car. I think he was parked and then pulling out. All right, so I'm going back for my Comida Corrida, my running lunch. They had, the thing that I saw in the picture was milanesa, which is what I'm thinking of getting. It's fried, it's beef, but that's kind of what I'm in the mood for today. It's a little bit of a heavier lunch. And then for dinner tonight, I was just asking ChatGPT. It doesn't always answer my questions, but I'm going to go back to Plaza de Armas and have a lighter meal there with a drink. Have a little cocktail. It's Saturday night. It's Valentine's Day. I'm taking myself out to dinner. All right, so I'll see you at the restaurant. So just for like distance and everything, this is about 3 blocks from my Airbnb. The acupuncture place is 2 blocks away. And then 1 more block is the major street where the Alameda begins. So I'm about 4 blocks away from the historic center. So it's cute, it's really cute. So we got a picture here of Jamaica. Hibiscus. Alright, so we got a noodle soup here, consommé, some lime. No, está bien. Sí, no necesito. Gracias. It's good. It's kind of like a chicken soup with tomato, and then the lime is nice in it. All right, so here's my lunch. Milanesa de pollo with salad and a little rice. I don't know if there's any dressing on the salad. Got some lime. There's also some salsa here. It's really good. The Milanesa, I could have gotten beef or chicken. This chicken. Pounded really thin. And it's kind of like it has a cornmeal breading. Very nice, really healthy, simple lunch, cheap, homemade. This is a real local experience here. Well, that was good. It was a little confusing. I don't know that I've ever had a Comida Corrida before. I may have. Maybe I didn't have to choose. You just kind of go in and you get what's on the menu for the day. So there's soup, noodle soup, or pasta and potatoes. I don't know if that was a soup. Kind of a weird thing. Is that Mexican? It's like Italian povera cucina food. So the noodle soup was great. And then he was asking me, I was looking at the whiteboard. When I went in for earlier, at breakfast time, I got a menu. And there was stuff on the menu for lunch, but I didn't get a menu this time. So I was looking at the whiteboard. And so the next section was rice, salad, and then I thought he said crema. And I kind of vaguely remember having a crema as part of a meal somewhere in Mexico, but I don't know what that is. I asked ChatGPT, got the wrong answer. So I said salad, because I didn't understand that. I thought, all right, salad's healthy. And then the main, there were different price levels. I forget everything that they had. They had a smoked pork chop, but they were out of that. Had a star next to it. Why not just erase it? It's on the whiteboard. So then I said Milanesa. It's funny that it's called Milanesa. Is that what they make in Milan? Does it come from Milan? Cutlet? So they had Milanesa, beef, or chicken. It's really good. Really, really thin. It's the way you're supposed to make chicken cutlets. I don't. I can never get my cutlets that thin. So really thin. Really nice breading. Kind of this cornmeal breading. It's perfect. I'm full, satisfied, but not stuffed. So there you have it, viewer. A little glimpse into a Mexican life here. Tacos de Canasta. Basket tacos for breakfast. And then Comida Corrida. It was 160 pesos, which is, it's under $10. 170 would be $10. I didn't know if I was supposed to leave a tip. I thought it was 180. I was going to just leave 200. But then it was 160. Do I give him 20 back? Like, I don't know. There was a guy who paid before me and it looked like he didn't leave a tip, so I didn't. Oops, I don't know. It's so confusing here. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this little glimpse into Mexican daily life here in the neighborhood. It's very quiet. Tell you, I can get used to this life. If I had a slightly nicer apartment with a little bit more windows, that I could like open the windows and get some fresh air, I wouldn't mind it. So if I come back, now I know my way around, look for a different place. I don't know what I would do if I came back, because I feel like I've seen most everything you're supposed to see, but to just kind of live here, hang out, that's a nice vibe. All right, well, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Hasta la vista. Bye.